Ladies and gentlemen, how are you doing? This is We Saw That. I'm Kevin.
And I'm Javon.
And we are going to talk about the 2020 movie, Jingle Jangle. So, directed by David Talbert. It's a family film. It's a fantasy film. It's a musical. Came out just this November. So it stars, among others, Forrest Whitaker, Keegan-Michael Key, and phenomenal cast. The setup for this film is basically there is a toy maker, Jeronicus Jangle, who is a very successful toy maker slash inventor. He eventually is betrayed by one of his apprentices, and the rest of the movie is covering the fallout from that. Basically, he loses his business. He has some family tragedy. He's estranged from his daughter and his granddaughter, who he eventually ends up meeting again. But the apprentice who betrayed him does come back. And so there's strife throughout the film, basically, between him and his apprentice and one of his inventions. And again, it's a musical, so all of that is happening as well. So, yes. Javon, can you tell us your brief impressions of the movie?
Man, I'm sure you all can hear. This is going to be like minimum spoilers, but please stop what you're doing and check this movie out, because we, as African Americans, need more movies like this at a time like this, where we're kind of locked in. We're looking for not only entertainment, but quality entertainment. And this is something that the kids, the grandparents, and everyone in between can pull up a chair to the TV, stop what they're doing for 2 hours, sing a little bit, dance a little bit, maybe even shed a tear, and have a great time doing so. As I said, you could probably hear the smile on my face right now when talking about this movie. I can't wait to go into it. And to begin with, let's go through a simple cast of characters. First, we meet Phylicia Rashad, who is a grandmother and who has two of her grandchildren sitting with her, and she opens a book and begins to tell us, as well as them, the story of Jeronicus Jangle. Phylicia Rashad is a vampire. I'm not sure if anyone knows. I'm talking about real life, not in this movie. I don't know what she has done with the Fountain of Youth. Whether it's in her backyard, whether she makes iced tea with the water from it, but she is not aging. This is something. This is something I've never seen before. Jeronicus Jangle is played in his younger self by an actor named Justin Cornwell, and as we know, as he gets older, as Forrest Whitaker. And that Afro on Brother Forrest, soul brother number one. How did you feel about not only Phylicia's role as the grandmother telling the story, but also both sides of Jeronicus?
I appreciate Phylicia Rashad's acting. How can you not?
How can you not?
To say she still got it is like she never really lost it. So what do you say to that? She was great. She was great in the movie.
Yes.
I did wonder where they were going with the whole framing thing of her telling the tale to her grandchildren, but that is revealed later on. Yes. I'll leave that. Yes. But it worked out very well. The portrayal of the younger and the elder Jeronicus Jangle was really good. Yes, it was. I don't have any real complaints. I really did like Forrest Whitaker's portrayal of how he had lost that creative spark, or he thought he lost it. Right. So the way that he played it, I thought it was very understated. He seemed to be the movie's straight man because, as I said, it's a musical.
Yes.
But what's funny, that took me a little while to get used to, was that he was like commenting on the musical parts of the movie, like like a regular audience member would.
Like he was breaking the third wall,
like
the fifth wall, or whatever it is.
He was breaking the fourth wall all over the place.
Right.
And yeah, especially when, the three brothers were doing this singing group thing. He's like, oh, they got background singers?
Right.
And then later on they come back again and he's like, oh, they are a group. Like, all right, I got you. Because that's what I'm thinking.
Yes, right. They popped out like Boys the Men or something.
They did with the matching outfits and the dance moves. I'm like, okay, you being funny. But no issues with Forrest Whitaker's portrayal at all.
Yes.
Yeah, I think he was the perfect person for this part.
Yes.
He did great.
He definitely did. And then we have Gustafsson, played in his younger time as by Miles Barrow. And as he got older, none other than Keegan-Michael Key. Keegan-Michael Key did what Keegan-Michael Key does. And I had no problem with it here. Mm-hmm. There were even times that he stretched his wheelhouse to include almost like dropping a tear, or I think he dropped a tear by the movie's climax. So it wasn't just over the top gravitas, eating at the scenery and everything around it. He actually did show a couple of things that I hadn't seen before in any character that he's played. How did you feel about Keegan-Michael Key and young Miles Barrow playing Gustafsson?
I really appreciated everything that Keegan-Michael Key did. Everything. I agree with you 100%. About what he said. He had the right range of emotions to portray, even though most of the time I feel he was hamming it up. I believe he had fun playing his role, because I had fun watching him play the role. Yes. He was I feel perfect for the role. He was great. And I haven't seen him in much outside of what he and Jordan Peele have done for Comedy Central.
Yes, Key and Peele.
I haven't seen him much outside of that.
Okay.
But it was a treat. In this movie, like everything he did was he had me laughing the whole way through.
Definitely.
So no issues there.
Oh man. So then we met later on Joanne Jingle, played by Sharon Rose, as well as their daughter Jessica, who's played when she's younger by an actress by the name of Diana, I think it's Babrakova. And as she gets older, by Anika Noni Rose. What were your impressions about Joanne, and Jessica?
I think unfortunately, there wasn't much in the movie for them. I think there was more for Anika Noni Rose to do.
True.
So that was fine. And I've loved her voice since Dreamgirls. So,
all right.
So I was there for that. When she showed up, I was like, ooh, it's her.
Right.
So I was, I liked everything she sang. Loved it. I don't think their characters had much to do in the movie, but I understand that it was all about Jeronicus's journey.
Yes.
And the recapturing of that spark that we'll get into, I'm sure, how his granddaughter had to play a part in that. So it was really about the two of them.
Yes.
Mostly. So I understand that was probably why the other women didn't have a big role, but I feel that they didn't, and I don't feel that much was memorable about what they were doing, except for, of course, Anika Noni Rose.
Yes.
She had a very huge part to play toward
yes.
when she came on screen.
Certainly, she took the baton and took off in that direction with it.
Mm-hmm.
Last but not least, at least for right now, we've got a scene chewing, scene munching, scene stealing invention from Jeronicus, Don Juan Diego, portrayed by none other than Ricky Martin.
Oh yeah.
There are so many things that can be said about this character. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're feeling like we're feeling it, we just gonna pump the brakes just for a second. There were some parts that I believe were influenced by Sebastian. And he was so complex. It was weird how from the second that he was created, he took a turn for the dark side, for lack of a better word. There was no warning. There was no reason. That was just the nature of events. And as quick as he did, he got into Gustafsson's ear, and everything started to, come frayed at the ends. Don Juan Diego is flipping around as he's talking and gyrating, and he can't sit still. But I'm sure that there hasn't been a character, at least in that form, if not ever, then not in a very long time. How did you feel about little Don Juan, or about Ricky Martin's vocal skills, as far as not only the lines, but when he had those songs that he sung?
I was surprised to learn that Ricky Martin was the one behind that character. I haven't heard haven't heard his voice since Living La Vida Loca. So,
literally.
So there you go.
Right.
But I didn't recognize him because I think I thought it was someone else.
Okay.
So like, kudos to Ricky Martin for having a vocal range.
I felt the same way.
He didn't sound like Ricky Martin to me. So I was like, oh,
right.
That's Ricky Martin for real?
Yeah.
That character was hilarious. The character was absolutely hilarious. And it is interesting. You talked about it. It is interesting how important he was to getting the whole plot rolling.
Exactly.
Because he is the one that turned Gustafsson to the dark side. He's the one that put the bug in his ear about you're not being given the credit that you deserve.
Yes.
But you of course saw at the beginning that he had his own reasons for that, because of his when he was told that he was going to become mass produced, he took that the wrong way.
Yeah.
Got the pride and selfishness in. I'll show you
immediately.
Immediately. So I kind of do wonder just where that came from. But
right.
Okay, I guess that would be my only issue with how that happened.
Yeah.
But besides that, I mean, the character was genuinely hilarious.
Yes, he was.
I enjoyed him being on screen every moment, every little shimmy and shake that he did, every time he wiggled his shoulder pads or whatever.
Right.
It was over the top, but it was great.
Man.
So I'm laughing. I'm laughing now, thinking about just how crazy he was. But it was great. It really was great.
Yes, it was. It was like he had little bits of the scene in between his teeth, like he needed a toothpick or something at the end. He was like chewing on the scenery. This Day is the name of the opening song, which, in my impression, was larger than life itself. It was magnificent. It's detailing the fact of a package that is arriving to Jeronicus that he's waited on from what he says his whole life. And it will unlock an invention that he's been working on and putting together the pieces to for as long as he can remember. And we find out that invention is none other than Don Juan. How did you feel about them incorporating into that opening song This Day, not only the small shop that they were in, but even at a certain point, the song growing so big that it had to break out of the shop and pour out into the town streets, where now the townsfolk are dancing around and jumping and doing their flips and everything, singing it as well.
I will comment on not only that song, but the entire soundtrack. I loved the music for this.
Loved it.
And the thing that I liked about it was that just the grandeur in it. And I appreciate that a movie with as many people of color in it,
yes,
is given the serious treatment of a larger than life musical.
Exactly.
We haven't seen that.
Yes.
I don't think we've seen a lot of that. It was great to see. There was, I mean, anybody will notice this if you watch the movie. There's this film is so diverse, it's crazy.
Yes.
It's crazy. Everybody in this movie. And people and like, you know, people of color from not just America, even, you know, like
right.
we have British Black people. We got people driving on the left side of the road. I mean, this movie is literally all over the map, and I appreciate it. But back to the music. The music was great. The choreography was great.
It was incredible.
I love the choreography. I mean, I could have watched a miniseries of this movie just talking about Jeronicus's other inventions.
Yes.
We saw basically the main one or two, the robot and the other
Buddy.
robot.
Yeah, Buddy 3000.
Buddy 3000.
Yeah, and then Don Juan.
And Don Juan. And we know he's been inventing his whole life, apparently. Had a book full of inventions.
Yes.
We didn't even get to see. They
exactly.
Got stolen. Yeah. I'm ready for a miniseries of just Jeronicus Jangle before all this.
Oh my goodness!
I wanted that, and
I hope they open it. I hope they go down to Pan's Labyrinth. Right? You know,
exactly. Perfect. And I want the same music team on this.
Yes. John Legend, by the way.
Thank
John
you.
Legend had something to do with it. Yeah.
And the same choreography team on this miniseries. Do it.
So as we said, Don Juan gets in Gustafson's ear. It gets him to steal the book, and it's sad to have that degree of drama lumped into the movie just as soon as you learn, you know, some of the characters and you dance with them a little bit and spun off the ceiling and off, you know, off the rooftops and all. That this hurt Jeronicus so bad that it in some ways broke his heart, because he was so giving that he even opened up his toy shop and let everyone just take all the toys once that package arrived that he was waiting on, because he knew it would be that magnificent, which it did turn out to be, because, you know, you've got this little robot or whatever Don Juan was, that's like almost like suspended animation, like, you know, there's no puppet strings, he got no strings on him, but he's still flipping around and doing everything. It's like he's alive. And so for you to take that and to take the book that it was produced from, as well as everything else that, you know, his life's work, you know, embodied, it caused him over time to not even be able to smile again. It caused him to, you know, cast his daughter away. It caused his wife, in some regards or other, to pass away. And so it's, you know, you really set up a phenomenal tale by setting the stakes that high to have your main character, you know, dealt a blow that severe that soon after, you know, you just getting to meet him and everything. How did you feel about that animation of they almost look like marionettes, but how that carried you from him having the book and Don Juan stolen all the way into the present time with where Forrest Whitaker came into place? That animation that was like, it would almost look like they were like puppets while it was telling you everything that happened with the, you know, his wife passing and with the daughter kind of going on, you know, because he just didn't have any more love to give. But I really liked the way that animation looked and the way that it felt. It felt so original.
I liked how they used the animation to almost close off chapters of the movie. It was an effective way to transition. Sometimes I feel like it was probably a cost saving measure.
Okay.
Because they were the only person voicing those parts was Felicia Rashad. So that means true. So you're not getting that time with the other 5 or 6, 7 actors.
Yeah. And it can be done in post-production.
Right. But that's not a detriment. I just noticed that about it. But like I said, they were placed effectively.
Yes.
That when you need a bit of a break or some big moment just happened, then it's moves to, you know, the puppets. But it was a nice blending of the different styles of, you know, a movie and a musical and the frame story.
Yes.
And these marionette puppet looking animations
Yes.
to break up what seemed like chapters of maybe a book.
Yes.
And acts maybe in the story. I thought that was done very well.
Exactly. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we meet as interesting a character as we have seen yet on the screen in Miss Johnston. Miss Johnson, who is played by Lisa Davina Phillip, has her eyes locked on Jeronicus and is not going to let go. And it's so funny because for you to put a character like this into a family kind of kiddie at times story, it could dance on the line of having the kids at home being like, wow, she really got something going for Mr. Jingle. But when she sung her song, which was the third song in the film, which basically was telling Jeronicus to find his life and find his smile again, she killed it. And that's when those background singers popped up for the first time. Yep. What did you think about not only Mrs. Johnston, but about Lisa Davina Phillips, what she gave to the role and to the film as a whole?
I thought it was great. I yes. thought I was gonna get tired of how thirsty she was.
Yeah.
But I think they were as tasteful as they could be.
Yes.
Instead of getting the message across that, she wanted her some Jeronicus. And she was gonna get it no matter what he said.
Right.
They were,
oh my goodness,
as they could be with that kind of subject.
Yes, yeah.
And I appreciated her. I appreciated her contribution to the plot. I mean,
yes.
I feel like normally I'd be like, that's enough, but not this time.
It was charming.
The time she was on the screen, I enjoyed it.
Right.
And there was a point to all of this. It finally came together. In the end, it wasn't just this woman who wanted something.
Yes.
Who wanted this man.
Right.
There was more for her to do than just be, an interested party.
Exactly.
She had a part to play, mainly towards the end, and it was welcome.
Yes.
It was good. I liked her song too.
She killed it. I'm talking about on the floor.
Yeah, it was really, really good. I liked it a lot.
And there's something that I'll add later on in our observation about her, but when it does, you'll feel why I appreciated that character as much as I do. We're then introduced to Mr. Delacroix, portrayed by Hugh Bonneville, and that's where I thought that there was just a sprinkle of a cliche. Because here's this guy who Jeronicus owes money to, or to the bank rather, and if it's not paid at a certain point, the show can't go on anymore. The shop is going to close. All that Jeronicus has worked for is going to be down the drain, and so at some point that's going to have to be salvaged by the end, of the presentation. There's going to have to be some way that he's going to have the day saved for him if he doesn't do it for himself. I like the way that Hugh Bonneville played the character, because he was warm and he was earnest, but he was also stern about, hey, there's no more wiggle room here. And so I thought that if that character had to be there, then I think that Hugh Bonneville was the man for the job. How did you feel about his character and what he brought?
I don't think the character added that much. It reminded me of a similar character in Mary Poppins, the new Mary Poppins.
Yes.
Yes. That businessman.
Yes.
Who's all about the business, but he's got a heart of gold, or something.
Right.
I feel like it wasn't. I didn't get much out of the character, but it's not in the sense that I felt it was wasted time. I just didn't get much out of it. But I think that it was what was done was appropriate and was brief enough, and they got back to the point soon enough that it wasn't a problem. I didn't have problems. I didn't have problem with the acting at all.
Yeah, I think they had to figure out a way to have Jeronicus not only get his smile back and redeem his self confidence, but he also had to cross a finish line in some regard, and so that had to be the measuring stick of all that he had recapped, all that he had reclaimed, and his expression of it by being able to meet that deadline and make it so that his shop and everything would be able to flourish at the end. So I mean, I did understand that a bit. Like I said, it's got some. We've seen it before, but it wasn't a roadblock. It was just it was just a little bit of a bump. But back to the goods. We are introduced to young Journey, who is Jeronicus's granddaughter, Jessica's daughter. After she's moved away and all, she's had a daughter. And in my impression, she was as much of a Disney princess as I have ever seen. She stole my heart. I'm talking about just the way that she performed with the songs, the way that she was so innocent and so cute and so she was just so endearing. And that song about her purpose in life and how it showed up, I think later in the movie a time or two, she really commanded the attention that I'm sure she's receiving, today and for the rest of her career, I would imagine, with whatever she shows up in after. How did you feel about young Madeline Mills, who portrayed Journey?
I think she was great. I think she was the right person for that role.
Certainly.
I didn't have problems with her portrayal. She reminded me a little bit of Annie.
Okay.
The old one and the new one, really.
Yes, I was going to mention the remake in particular. Yes.
Yeah, she reminded me, of the original Annie and the Annie remake. That kind of character.
Yes.
No, she was great. She was great. Yes. I don't have any complaints. I liked her songs. She had, I think, a great blend of not only innocence but also cleverness.
Yes.
And then I guess there were plot reasons for that. Her picking up really early that Gustafsson wasn't on the level, and that whole thing with the invisible ink. Because it made me wonder what it was doing in the movie when Jeronicus made her sign a contract with invisible ink. What's that for? But then that was revealed, and she figured it out, and she used it to prove that Jeronicus was the true inventor of all those inventions and arms and all that stuff. And I'm like, okay, she's ingenious, and she can hold her own.
Yes.
And Edison, her friend or whatever, is like, do you want to be my assistant? And it's like, do you want to be mine? And it's like, ooh.
He's like, I like you, and I don't care who knows.
Right.
Ooh. And he ran off, and I'm like, what? That was cool.
I really enjoyed Journey's character. I don't have any complaints. I think it was done very, very well, and they got the right person. They got the right young actress.
Yes. We are now reintroduced into Gustafsson, and now he's Keegan-Michael Key. He's all grown up, and he also has Don Juan at his side. And there is a over-the-top, yet hilarious and colorful and much appreciated fifth song to the movie called Magic Man G. Where the tagline was, "You can't spell magic without G." And I loved at the end how he started bringing a little soul into the song with the yow, wow, wow, wow. I said, he reaching in there, man. Oh man! So, what did you think about that fifth number, Magic Man G, and the whole presentation of it?
That was a lot of fun.
It really was.
Yeah, like I said, I really enjoyed everything Keegan-Michael Key did. And that song especially, he was just able to stretch his wings as one of the bad guys. It was done very well. It was effective. It was great.
It really was. It really was. After a little while, we get the sixth number of the film, which is called the square root of impossible. Once again, Journey steals every scene that she's in and every song that she sings. Her personality is so bright, and I like the way, in particular, with this number, how the magic kind of swirled around her as she was singing. She that was, she's so talented. As you said, then she meets Edison Lattimore, and he's played by Karan L. Dyer. And they stumble upon Jeronicus's invention, which never came to life until someone actually believed in it. And its name is Buddy 3000. And once again, just like we say about robots, for some reason he reminds me of Johnny Five with the eyes and everything.
Yes.
What did you think about little Buddy 3000?
Buddy 3000 reminded me of E.T.
Ah, look at that.
Just how he looked.
Yeah.
But now that you're saying that, looking even more like Johnny Five. I think with Buddy, I felt like the revelation of the things that he could do. I don't know. I feel like that could have been a little smoother or balanced, because you introduce him and he kind of like, he does this Teddy Ruxpin thing. Getting back to what you said. Okay.
Right.
So he does that. But also he talks on his own, which
right.
What's that? With that, of course, maybe that was related to the whole belief thing. But he knows his own function, because he ends up saying things like, okay, well, you believed in me, so now I'm gonna fly. And he can fly, like, okay.
And he can make you fly.
Like, all right, okay. So that took me a while to get, but it's a fantasy film. So okay, there is the fantasy element.
Yeah, there's no rules, I guess.
There's no rules here.
Right.
So, and I know that he made you fly, because he made people fly wherever. In the shop, out of the shop, wherever. So he makes you fly. Okay, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna deal with it. But he was charming.
Yeah, he was.
He was very charming. I think it was a good one. It just showed you all the more of the things that Jeronicus was capable of, which is again why I wanted a mini series of Jeronicus.
Yes.
If he can do Don Juan, if he can do Buddy 3000, let me see something else.
What else can he do?
Oh
my gosh.
Yeah, that's how I feel about Buddy. It was a good introduction into the range of things that Jeronicus is able to create.
Right. I wonder, on a side note, what was so different between Don Juan and Buddy 3000, that one went to the dark side and one was immediately and always with the light. Was everything good and wholesome and pure and complete about Jeronicus. It was almost like he had a bit of his soul in him, whereas Don Juan was somewhere flipping around, flipping out, doing whatever he was doing. Right. It was just funny how, you received the evil one, for lack of a better word, early, which set up that villain, and took it that direction. But then you're given our own little Johnny Five or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
A little while later, we are blessed with the seventh song of the film, in which Jeronicus is lamenting over his pain and his loss. And I'm like, Forrest is singing?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And it was, you could wring the rags out. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure that, that was the moment that the tears, could have easily started to flow. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Forrest gave something to this film as a whole that was so serious that when it finally became time for him to shed that grief and deal with things, it made you appreciate his smiling that much more. It made you appreciate his singing that much more. It made you appreciate when he was able to remaster his talents with how he was able to craft and create and invent that much more. Because you've seen him on the brink early on, and then kind of be pulled out of it. So it was so many layers with that character. And I'm sure that, the way that it looked, like you said, if it was a way, when this Blu-ray comes out, I'm getting it because I want all of those little behind the scene bits. And I want to know what made him not only pick this role, but I wondered what he used to pull those fabrics into the rug, that he created. Mm-hmm. Later on down the line, Jeronicus and his granddaughter and little Edison are out in the street, and it's snowing and everything, and somehow a snowball fight starts up between them. And it was so cool because Jeronicus, instead of just picking up snow and going for it, ran over to a shop window and wrote an equation. And I'm like, is he really having to create a formula just to throw a snowball? And his granddaughter's laughing at him and everything. And all of a sudden, he grabs a snowball and lobs it off a window or something. And it bounces back somewhere and it bounces off this angle. And when it hit her, I'm like, oh, okay, now I see. So now him and the granddaughter are going back and forth using these math formulas to create angles to how to, to throw a snow. Oh, it was so cool. What did you think about that? And little moments like that were so light and so whimsical that it just added to pulling every string in your heart and in your soul and everything else.
Well, the whole drawing in front of you.
Yes.
With the equations. That reminded me of a similar thing in A Beautiful Mind.
That's right.
What I appreciated about it was the putting education in a positive light.
Yes.
Because that doesn't happen all the time, and it happens
Bravo.
here. And
Bravo, sir.
You even get a sense of the different styles because his was like colored brown. Mm-hmm. And Journey's was colored blue.
Yes.
So that was a nice little touch.
Yes, it was.
So they definitely treated it with some care. I had the same question mark appear above my head. When he starts writing equations on, I guess, the frost in the window. I'm like, what's he doing?
Yeah.
But then he does this awesome bank shot.
Yes.
And hits Journey square in the chest. So I'm like, okay.
Okay.
And then they got this math battle, like, okay, all right. I grew up watching things like 3, 2, 1 Contact and Square.
Exactly.
So
yes.
That's down my street. but it was like I said, it was good. It was nice to see education being put in a positive light, even with like children, which that's an important message.
Definitely. And then how about them with the little dance battle that was kind of added to it?
This dancing was off the hook. They even had the kids doing the dancing, which is also what reminded me of Annie.
Yes.
The dancing was great. We haven't talked about this yet, but I'm going to bring it up now because I feel like I have to. The costuming in this movie was amazing.
Oh my
goodness.
The
colors, just the colors. It's just like the colors were like sumptuous. This stuff was so bright and rich.
Yes.
And everybody had just amazing just colors and styles. And even Jeronicus, when he was not doing well, he was wearing something that was still colorful, but you could still tell that he was a sad man.
Like he was supposed to be subdued.
Yeah, because and his thing was like richly colored, but you could tell that he was sad because his clothes were sad, even though it was bright. I mean, so credit to the costume design. It was fantastic. And of course that was also at play with the children.
Yes.
And with Gustafsson and his green thing.
Right. Green with envy. Green with envy. Yes.
And so all good.
Oh man, you talking about something magical. So somehow Gustafsson tries one way and another way to get back into Jeronicus's shop to see what else he can steal. being driven, of course, by Don Juan, and finds a way to get into the shop and to kidnap Buddy. So now the kids have to set out on a little bit of an adventure to rescue their dear old Buddy 3000. And I thought that was creative, especially Jeronicus being able to speak through time, for lack of a better word, or speak somehow to his granddaughter and to Edison to help them get through this roller coaster kind of little thing, you know, and to time their jump just so that the blades of the fan that was going to have the chance of cutting them didn't. And I like the way that they actually played that out on the screen. Jeronicus finally warmed up to Miss Johnston. And I mean, by this point, she's like holding mistletoe over her head and doing everything else that she can. I'm talking about the ultimate thirst trap. And but what I wanted to say earlier, and I'll say now, is here is the message for some people and for this situation. Sometimes all we need is a strong woman to believe in us and not give up. And I like the way that they did that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I like the way that they did that.
Which is, again, why I appreciated that she wasn't just someone who was thirsty.
Yes.
Her thirst had, maybe it wasn't her purpose, but it had an effect on this plot, on the main character, that actually meant something other than beyond just someone to laugh at because she's like the female Pepe Le Pew.
Yes.
Her belief in Jeronicus, actually, I mean, probably mainly, her and Jeronicus.
Yes, yeah. But still.
But also her belief in him was a part of a push that he needed. Which was a great thing to do.
Yeah, and when he finally came around, he made sure that she knew that, hey, you've opened my eyes, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And she seemed like she would have been, in spite of Journey, she may have been the only one that could actually pull him that way. Because not only was his bridge broken with his daughter, which of course would bleed over into the granddaughter, his heart had been broken from his wife passing. So now here's someone to say, hey, over time you can learn to love again, and this takes us into the 8th song of the film, called Make It Work Again, which when you said that about Annie, about the remake, and there was that song in that with Jamie Foxx, Cameron Diaz, and the young lady who played Annie, the girl who played Annie. This was a duet that crossed distance between Jessica, the daughter, and Jeronicus, the dad, as he's trying to work again to repair Buddy, who was broken through being rescued with the little adventure or whatever. Powerful stuff. That song, Make It Work Again, bled out once again into the town, and then you got the townspeople outside singing and everything.
They're going crazy.
Oh my goodness! It just, and now Jessica is deciding to take Jeronicus's invitation to finally come and make things whole again. And so that's a story about redemption and about, being able to forgive, being able to apologize. And so it's so many little nuggets that are just littered all throughout this thing. It just keeps hitting every mark. And the end result of that is not only are they able to mend what they had that was broken, they also mend the broken Buddy 3000. And I like the way he popped back up and everything. What did you think about that message of reuniting a father with his daughter, with forgiveness, with apology, and with it being able to be played out in the way that they were able to do so?
Well, first, the song, I ain't know Forrest Whitaker could sing.
Right.
I'm like, wait, what movie did I miss? Because what? He got it. But the themes. I feel like the whole estrangement between Jangle and his daughter, I felt it kind of came up came all out in a rush at the end of the movie.
Okay.
We do see that they were separated. That basically she moved out. I guess after mom died.
Yes.
I feel the whole thing of "Daddy, do you still love me?" thing kind of only came up again at the end when she came back.
Okay.
But I don't know. I don't have a sense of where they should have put that in a way that wouldn't be interrupting the main plot.
True.
Which was more about Jangle and his granddaughter.
Yes.
And I know that part of the whole reconciliation was mediated by the granddaughter when we find out that, she's the main reason why they get back together. Him and his daughter get back together in the first place, because she kind of engineered things that way because she's a little mastermind.
Right.
So that's why I don't know where they could have addressed the whole thing. It seems like it just, the whole estrangement, especially on Jessica's side, how she felt that, I didn't even know if you cared about me anymore. I didn't, the whole thing about, I didn't know if you blamed me for mom's death.
Yeah.
That kind of just came out right there.
Yeah.
Which I don't know where that should have come in, but it seemed late when it was revealed. It just seemed late.
Yeah.
So maybe earlier, but I don't know where it should have been. So that's kind of how unresolved I feel about that. But the whole coming together, and that's the only way they were able to fix Buddy in the first place.
That's true.
Was to come together to reunite his father and daughter. Very powerful.
Yes.
And of course, the moment where he shows, I thought about you every day. Look at all these letters I didn't mail. Okay.
Yeah.
Powerful scene.
Yeah.
Powerful.
Yeah.
So that worked really well.
Certainly. Gustafsson rears his ugly head again, where he comes into the shop and he brings the police with him to try to lie and say that Jeronicus is the one who has been the thief all along. And look at all of this that he's trying to take, and I have the proof. I have the diagrams and the book, that created Don Juan, as well as everything else. And that's when, as you said before, little Journey comes up with the ingenious plan to foil his attempts with the use of the invisible ink. He is carted away, but before he is, much like Hamilton, and in particular, my favorite song from it, Wait For It, Jeronicus tells Gustafsson, I would have shown you everything if only you waited. He tried so hard to be a master inventor like Jeronicus, that he took for granted all that he was being shown, and he grasped at the first straw that came around, and it led him sure to the top of the world, but then that rocket started to fall straight back down faster than it even shot up, and it ended with him being in handcuffs and being carted out there. So I really thought that was a powerful, just an end piece on Gustafsson's character about Jeronicus saying, had you only waited, I was going to, look, I can even prove this. Look at this gift that I was going to give you. And he was planning to give him the one piece of his toy that never worked properly, even when he had the big, song about Magic Man G with this thing whirling around, almost chopping people's heads off and stuff. Right. It's just one simple piece that Jeronicus was going to give him a long time ago and never was able to. And that was really, that really put a bookend on that character. Mm-hmm. Mr. Delacroix finally was able to meet Buddy. And, how did you feel about them ending that piece of the story that I said seemed at first to be a bit cliche, but at least when Mr. Delacroix finally was able to see Buddy flying all around and everything, he was so enamored that he forgot. It seemed like all of the destitute, that he put Jeronicus in by saying, you got to show me something special or it's gone. You got to show me something special or I'm getting you out of here. Mm-hmm. So, how did you feel about the way that he reacted when he saw Buddy, in all of his splendor?
I think it was good for closure's sake. Just closing off that whole thing about this is the person who holds Jeronicus's financial future in his hands.
Yeah.
And it was good to see Jeronicus come back to and believe in himself again as this master inventor. So that's what I appreciated about that play. I kind of feel the whole thing with Delacroix was, I'm stopping short of saying unnecessary.
Yeah.
Because I think it was necessary.
Right.
I just didn't get much out of it. Not that it was not done well, but just because of how much more important the other elements of the film were, especially concerning Jeronicus and his journey, his self-doubt, his relationship with his family, all of that being, I feel, more important to this movie than the business side of it. Means I didn't get that much out of Delacroix and his thing, and I felt when he takes one look at Buddy, who I mean legitimately is revolutionary.
Yes, sure.
Just dropping everything all at once, I felt a little weird, a rush to me or something.
Yeah, it was like that, like
snapping. It was like that.
Yeah,
and that felt a little weird to me because of how well developed everything else was.
Yes.
But again, it wasn't that important. I think Jeronicus and his issues were so much more important to the story than the business side of his inventions and all that stuff. So I just didn't get much out of any of the whole arc with Delacroix.
And then to add insult to it, the second that Delacroix was like, okay, you'll never have to worry about money again, and anything that you choose to do for the rest of your life will be sanctioned by the bank and by all of us. The doors to the shop suddenly open, and people begin to flood in. I'm like, wait a minute, the shop was there the whole time. Right. Y'all have been passing it by and not coming in it. All of a sudden, the doors blew open and people came back in like it was an all new, like going to the mall or something.
That's the magic of Buddy 3000. What can I tell you? He was just that amazing that it's like that whole stretch of whatever when he wasn't doing anything, when he converted to a pawn shop, all the way up until the end when he finally fixed Buddy, all of that's gone in the blink of an eye because Buddy was just that great, because Jeronicus is just that great as an inventor.
Exactly.
What are you gonna say?
Right. And then the segue on Buddy being as magical as he was, at the end we got a chance to see Jeronicus fly.
I was waiting for that. Yes. I was waiting for him to start flying, and when he finally did, I was like, yes.
It's funny, man, to be grown men and to be like cheering.
I was.
because this little robot is like making Jeronicus with that afro fly.
I was there for it. And I was so glad when he finally flew, because that's because the flying was the sign of belief, and Buddy said that when he first saw him, when the kids when Journey and Edison fixed him the first time.
Yes.
The robot said, "It's because you believe." Okay. Yeah. And then when Jeronicus walked in on him, he was like, before he got there.
Yeah.
The robot's like, someone's coming in who doesn't believe. So I gotta go sit down.
Yep. I got a time out for a little bit.
I got time out. So yes, when he finally believes, not only in Buddy, but himself.
Yes.
And then he starts flying, that's the proof. So that's why I was waiting for it.
Right.
And that's why I was so happy. And Forrest Whitaker gets that air.
Yes. I'm talking about overjoyed. If you will, to finalize these things and to go into our rating, which I'm sure, ladies and gentlemen, you may not really need right now. Tell them, well, not tell them, but remind them of Grandma's secret.
So, I mean, it's revealed that Grandma, Felicia Rashad, that she's Journey.
Yes.
And then it turns out she's had Buddy this whole time.
And that Man.
So that means her grandchildren that she's talking to, they realize, oh wow, Jeronicus was our great-great-grandfather.
Yes.
And she points out the window and his shop is still over there. And she's like,
Yes.
let's go over there. And you like, and you know, she doesn't mean let's walk downstairs, let me warm the car up and I'll drive over. It's like, nah, Buddy's already floating at this point. So it's like, are we flying? Are we flying? And
yes.
they fly, and it's great.
Man.
It's great.
It was, I'm talking about overjoyed. It didn't make any sense, man. I'm like stopping myself from like dropping a tear, like, oh my goodness, when I saw it. The second that she said something about Buddy and he peeked around the corner, I almost lost it. I almost lost it. Oh man, but yeah, it was so endearing. It was so amazing. Okay, I guess we got to let's get ready to say goodbye to everybody. Let's see. It was very, very well directed. The production as a whole was breathtaking. Well acted, we already said, and in particular, Journey and Jeronicus, those characters just, you know, what can I say that we haven't said already? Highly, super, amazingly, completely rewatchable. Like every Christmas, like anytime I have kids around, like you name it, rewatchable. And the script was well written as well, because for a director to not only write the movie but also direct it, that's a huge endeavor. So that really gets kudos. The fifth element would be, in this case, to me, the movie had soul. The songs, the way that it felt Black, the way that it felt like us, you know what I'm saying? And I'm sure that this is a feeling that is only a slice of what we felt with Black Panther. But those slices and that pie as a whole, we need. We've been overlooked so much that things like this show, you know, the masses and show the powers that be. Give them money. Let them tell their stories. Their stories are colorful. They're entertaining. You know, and everything in particular. Man, you know, like I said, you know, there was a cliche or two, you know, the whole thing about believing in yourself, the whole thing about, you know, we need to get this money to save the shop before the shop gets closed. Yeah, so I ain't said about that. I'm giving it a highly, highly recommended. Highly recommended. Kim, what did you feel about this movie?
So the plot, I like the plot. I've already said the things I liked about it. I like the way that the things that came together that I was skeptical at first, but there was a reason for them. I think, like I said, the only extraneous element I thought was the whole business thing, which again I acknowledge has to be in there.
Yes.
So I don't think that was a really huge detriment. Of course, the acting, I like pretty much everybody's acting. I could watch this. I could rewatch this every Christmas.
Yes.
No issues with the script. Wild card, I have already mentioned the music,
yes,
and the costume design and the choreography, all of that. Give me
and the special effects too.
And the special effects, give it.
Yeah,
give me more. Give me those things. That's okay. So, I also, you know, what I had to remind myself that, you know, this is a family film.
Yes.
So what I had to put aside, the little things that didn't appreciate that much, like the way the message came out, you know, believing in yourself, I felt that was repetitive.
Okay.
But it's a family film, so okay.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, it has a message.
You give the kids something to watch. You're gonna repeat it because that's what's working. That's right. Going to work.
Yes.
And it was an important message. And besides that, you have already mentioned just the whole putting Black people in a movie and treating the movie seriously.
Yes.
I think that is necessary.
Definitely.
And that was done very well. And I think not in a way that, look at all these Black people. Aren't we progressive? No. Again, this
right.
Black people seeming normal.
Yes.
So yes, A+ on that. So my final rating, it's highly recommended. I think for what it is. It's a great family film. It's very positive. It has a good message, and it is done well. It looks and sounds beautiful. So I recommend this movie.
You heard it, you guys. We highly, highly, highly recommend Jingle Jangle. Stop what you're doing for this holiday coming up. Grab the children that are around you. Grab the grandmas and grandpas, aunts and uncles, cousins, sisters and brothers, mothers, husbands and wives, and watch Jingle Jangle. Because sometimes when it comes to magic, when it comes to believing in yourself, sometimes those things don't make a sound. Other times they make a jingle jangle. Mm-hmm. And that was corny, but that's all right. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, I am Javon. And we saw that.